In the midst of coastal town, there lived orang Bajau where statelessness kicked away the stepping stone for them to gain recognition for citizenship. With the political restriction towards the land and sea, they felt as though they are kept in a huge invisible bubble. They want to get rid of this sedentary lifestyle. That's where Autonomous City speculates a hypothetical future of which they create their own kingdom to regenerate traditional way of life, to preserve culture and to regenerate resources. One morning, Jago, the master of sea, and four of his accomplices sneak into the land of Sabah, trying to barter for resources. Soon, one of them had been caught. They had no choice but to leave him and run back to where they belong. A new frequency inserted their hearings. The frequency turned into a language that they understand for the reason of they always believe in sea spirit. The fish spoke. It gave them quests that could be ever changing. But first they must seek for one thing, and that is freedom. They started their first ever motorboat and began with the journey. Soon, they discover a huge boat with a den on the front end, floating along the coast. With curiosity, they dive to find out that it seems to be a collision back then. 200 souls were trapped in the sunken boat. They use all their strength to break the weak point of the hull and let the dim light be the guide for the souls to freedom. With the material in hand, Jago realized that these are the material that the land people would send to scrapyard or abandon once it is decommissioned. The water surface draws a line of mirror. Jago realized that nomadism is the freedom that they are seeking for. Jago have a vision of which looks at adaptive reuse of the abandoned boat that serve as a platform for their social and cultural aspect. But they need to study the structure of the ship through dismantling the shell and reusing it to create their desired spaces. They utilize the spaces in their traditional lepa-lepa onto the ship to create a more comfortable and united architecture. On their way back, they collected all the ocean debris as to form the material for the buildings. Before they adapt, they start thinking of a space planning in relation to the proportion of their houseboat in details with a few considerations. They slowly attach themselves onto the ship with their traditional house building method called baan, which means process of clustering. It slowly evolved into a city of bricolage where slums are formed onto the ship like barnacles, covering most part of the ship with Bajau stick house, creating a reminiscence of the Bajau. Because it is an old ship, a dilapidated, buoyant mansion breaks the time limbo, reminding the age of the Bajau. There are times when they are needed a water, and sometimes don't need it. In this case, Bajau houses are built on a higher level, leaving all the activities to the proximity of the water.
Saya subatan dibilang santang Paboko kami kalana luang Elamu intangku indi pasanglah.
The Bajau depends solely on the rainwater for consuming. Therefore, there is to improve rainwater collection. To improve further, they created a platform for traditional solar desalination which uses ocean debris to create a simple dish. A mangrove nursery is important as they use it to create more lepa-lepa and most of the wooden architecture elements, so they can preserve their culture. Seaweed farming is built to encourage and improve their health. They are the natural wood artisan and ironsmith themselves that are capable of creating and repairing like what they always do. The green pocket that attracts the viewer from where they have started built with non-insulated wooden planks, keeping the authenticity of acoustic sense of Bajau. Looking up where the path of origin is situated, boats are hung as though they are floating on the invisible water medium, making this wide space an underwater experience for the people searching for the right fish to sacrifice. The Bajau children quick adapt to a whole new environment but without losing any of their true identity, having sea as their playground, as always. Jago's proposal is able to free one of his company that got caught, but he couldn't make it.
Oboe mata ko ende alo alo.
His idea proves that Bajau having no identity is a form of unique identity, and that they adapt to regenerate their culture, not losing it. Because if we don't start preserving the culture, then they will lose bit by bit until they lose it forever.